Alright guys, it's that time of the year. I said I'll do a video of each round. Looks like I have time, I guess, but at that time of year, the 2015 NHL playoffs is here. For now on, I'm gonna do predictions, like in a small way. If you haven't seen my boys, Bridgewater Finance on YouTube, he likes to, you give analysis, what team's best. I'm not gonna, do that because I don't have time. I'm gonna do pretty short. I'm gonna just say some stats and then think who I think is gonna win. So that's how it's gonna go. So let's get started. This is my first round pick. I'll be here for the second, third, and Stanley Cup prediction. So first off, we got the 1 seed Montreal Canadiens versus the wildcard number 1 spot Ottawa Senators. Canadiens sit with 110 points, and the Senators sit at 99 points. This is going to be a great matchup. The fight of two Canadian teams, two Canada teams. Last time they collided in the playoffs, the Senators end up beating the Canadiens. Canadiens pretty decent at home. They're 26-9-6. Away, they're 24-13-4. Senators, not the best home record compared to Montreal. 23-13-15 at home and 20-13-8 on the road. Some of the players you need to watch, of course, on the Canadiens, PK Subban, Thomas Plikin. Don't really know some of the players. And the goaltending matchup is going to be Carey Price versus Andrew Hampton. Pretty much this is going to be a little dirty, it's going to be Canada versus Canada. Too much I hate the Canadians. I actually think the Senators can pull the upset, Canadians, they love to, bully teams, especially my Bruins, when the Bruins play the Canadians, it's just a great rivalry. But, the Senators, what they need to do is, they need to, get penalties from the Canadians. They need to, bully them. You need to, push them around. And I actually think this is going to be an upset. I think Senators are going to win in a 7-game series. I think the Senators beat Montreal in Game 1. I think it's going to be really tight. Game 2, I think Montreal can pull off. Game 3, I think go to the Senators. Game 4, I think goes to Montreal. Game 5 is in Montreal. Montreal's a dangerous team at home. They're great at home. I think Montreal takes Game 5 to take a 3-2 lead. And I think Senators get the comeback. I think Game 6 in Ottawa, I think Ottawa stays alive. 7-game series. Montreal, I think Senators steals that 7th game. I have the Senators winning it and getting the upset in 7 games. So that's it. So that's it. I got the Senators winning in 7 games. So the next matchup is the 2-seeded Tampa Bay Lightning versus the 3-seeded Detroit Red Wings. Lightning sits at 108 points and Red Wings at 100 points. Lightning home records is pretty good. 32-8-1. Away record 18-16-7. So, and Red Wings, they're 22-10-9 and 21-15-5 away. Some players to watch in Tampa Bay is Ryan Callahan, Steven Stamkos. Players on Detroit to watch is Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Lundberg. The matchup is going to be Jimmy Howard versus Ben Bishop. The Red Wings were awesome this season, and the Lightning, they're built with speed, and the offense and defense is pretty good, and Red Wings, they do have a chance, but, I don't feel the Red Wings can do it. I think they will have some up and downs in this series. I can't wait to see Pavel Dascos and Riley Canahan. They're probably going to go at it each other. I don't know, but I think Tampa Bay is the better team there, so that's how I'm going. I think Tampa Bay wins in a 6-game series. I think Tampa wins both games at home, 1 and 2. I think they steal Game 3 from Red Wings. I think they win Game 3 in Detroit. Game 4, I think Detroit stays alive. Game 5 is in Tampa. Red Wings is pretty much a good away team. They're pretty much, sometimes they're pretty good. They're unpredictable. So I actually think they stay alive in Game 5. And Game 6 is in Detroit. I think Red Wings kind of comes short and Tampa wins Game 6. So that's my prediction. I think Tampa Bay is going to win in a 6-game series. So that's how you have it. First pick I had was Senators in 7 games, and my second is Tampa in 6 games. So basically, this is just the Eastern Conference. I'm doing the Western Conference later. I haven't made notes left, alright, so this is probably one of the best series I'm gonna watch. We got the number 1 ranked New York Rangers and the President's Trophy winners. Pretty much, probably one of the hottest teams right now in the league. Facing off the wildcard number 2, the Pittsburgh Penguins. The last time these played in the playoffs was actually in 2014. The Penguins, it was a pretty good series. Penguins jumped up to a 3-1 lead, and the Rangers just came back, and they made the cup that year. So, number 1, President's Trophy, New York Rangers versus the wildcard 2, Pittsburgh Penguins. The Rangers, President's Trophy, got 113, sitting with 113 points, and the Penguins with 98. The Rangers pretty much on fire this season. Home record 25-11-5. The way is pretty much better than the home, so that's pretty much gonna be deadly in the playoffs. So away 28-11-2. The Penguins are 23-14-4 at home, and the Penguins are 20-13-8 away. Players to watch on the Rangers. You need to watch Rick Nash. You need to write Matt Zuccarello. Marty St. Louis. Players to watch on the Penguins. Chris Letang. Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is going to try and get his team on his back. Another one is Anthony Malcolm, that he's going to be a good player. And I actually love this goalie matchup. We're going to have Hendrik Lundqvist versus Marc-Andre Fleury. This is going to be a good series. Rangers have won 3 of the 4 against the Penguins throughout the regular season. Sidney Crosby is going to work hard. Chris Letang is going to work hard because, but the Rangers, they've been playing really well. So I think it's going to be a close series, but I'm taking the President's Trophy in this one. I'm taking the number 1 New York Rangers to defeat the Penguins in a 6-game series. Rangers are pretty much good at home. I think the Rangers win games 1 and 2 in New York. Game 3, I think Penguins pull out. Game 4, I think New York steals. They have a 3-1 lead. Game 5 is in New York. I think Penguins are going to win Game 5. Sidney Crosby is going to combine with one of his players. They stay alive. Sidney Crosby is going to go absolute monstrous in Game 5. He's going to put his team on his back. I think Game 5 is all Sidney Crosby. Game 6 is, I believe, in Pittsburgh. Most of the time the Rangers play the Penguins in Pittsburgh. The New York Rangers end up beating them. I think Penguins fall short. I think Rangers will win Game 6 in Pittsburgh to win the series in 6 games. And that's how I am. So that's what I have so far. I got the Senators in 7, Tampa in 6, and the Rangers in 6. The last game is the 2-seeded Washington Capitals versus the 3-seed New York Islanders. Capitals with 101 points. Islanders also standing with 101 points. Capitals was a 23-13-5 home record, and the Islanders was a 25-14-2 record. Islanders with home. Away, Capitals 22-13-6 away record, and Islanders 22-14-5. My players watching the Capitals is obviously Alex Ovechkin, and the goalie matchup is going to be Brandon Hobley versus whatever his name is. I can't remember. Oh wow, this is a long video, so to be honest, I was surprised the Islanders made it. The Capitals, of course, made it. Close series, but I think this is gonna go. I think this is gonna go a 6-game series. I'm taking Washington in this one. I think Washington's the much better team. I think Washington wins. I think they split the first 4 games. Game 1 goes to the Caps. Game 2 goes to the Islanders. Game 3 goes to the Islanders, and Game 4 to the Capitals, and I think the Capitals wins Games 5 and 6. So that's it. That's the Eastern. I'm gonna do my Western Conference later. So in the Eastern Conference, the 1-seeded Canadiens versus the wild card. Let me see. Yeah, the wild card number 1, Ottawa Senators. I got the Senators to upset the 1-seeded Canadiens in 7 games. Tampa. The number 2 Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Detroit Redwings. I think Tampa Bay wins in 6 games. And again, we got the 1-seeded President's Trophy New York Rangers hosting the wildcard number 2 Pittsburgh Penguins. I think the New York Rangers win in 6. And finally, the number 2 Washington Capitals versus hosting the 3-seeded New York Islanders. I think the Capitals win in 6 games. That's it, folks. I'll be back for the Western. I hope you enjoyed this video, long videos, so see you guys later.